and then find you.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Morning.
everyone.
Good morning, everyone. How are y'all doing this morning?
Says
My name is
Leah,
Lee
good
Cheek.
morning.
I'm a new master gardener. I'm here with my garden friends and experts, Amy Hahn and Brian. You have an interesting name on your Zoom account.
Oh, I got to figure out how to correct that. I've seen that over there. That is part of my password, actually.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
we don't
not
have to say
good.
And
that.
it
No,
is
you shouldn't
not
tell us
supposed to be
that.
there.
Brian, if you click on the top three in the upper right of your picture, there's three little dots in blue. If you click on that, you can rename yourself.
Yeah, well, I just renamed him.
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
Three little dots. I don't see
Oh,
them.
gosh.
I'll work on this later.
Right,
Oh, it looks
exactly.
like Lee got it fixed.
Yeah. So anyway,
Oh,
so we wanted to talk this morning about tools and the maintenance of tools, and then about what's going on in our garden. What do you got, Brian?
um, I think we need to talk about a little bit about this coming freeze.
The
Uh,
freeze, okay, a little bit of weather.
yeah.
Okay.
It's
Oh.
been bouncing around back and forth. I don't know what y'all got this morning. It was supposed to be right at freezing between 33 to
Mhm.
31 degrees forecasted. And AccuWeather changed their forecast and they dropped it down from 33 to 31.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
I already had my plants inside, so
uh-huh.
but we've got a hard freeze coming up. So we
Yes.
want to talk about that just a little bit right here.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Most folks have had a chance to acclimatize, put their stuff in order, and I've been posting this for the last several days um on our group right there. But
Mm.
if any leftovers right there, we need to try to catch them if we can, especially the folks in further east and up in the mountains.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes we get someone saying, "Oh, you're saying there's a frost, but where I am, we're not getting anything." And what is it? This group, we have people from all of East Tennessee and the
Yep.
people up in the mountains and further north get frost way before the folks
Yep.
here
Yep.
in Knoxville or the folks that are closer to Chattanooga. Um, the other thing I wanted to mention is I have to leave at 9:15, so you'll see me leaving. Um, and it's not because anyone's done anything wrong. It's I have something else somewhere else where I need to be. Okay, go on, guys.
Okay. Thank you for
Oh,
for
I forgot
featuring
to
us.
wave.
Oh,
Oh, hi, I'm Toby Johnson. I'm a master gardener in Knox County.
I'm Amy Hahn. I'm a master gardener in Knox County,
But I'm actually
Tennessee.
I'm in Western Washington right now.
Yes.
And we're having not freezes, but really epic flooding.
I'm in Western Washington right now.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Ah, all right.
Oh,
So
okay.
good things. Okay.
Mhm.
So I want to share my screen. What I wanted to do, wasn't that funny? The share screen disappeared. Oh, there it
No.
is. Okay.
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 It was
Got it.
hiding.
It was hiding. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does that sometimes.
Hmm.
Okay. And so what I wanted to do was uh to uh
On a
look at
video.
well, yeah, a little bit of a video. This is a video that was recorded by the Knox County Master Gardeners Speakers Bureau.
A video.
And it is called The Three C's of garden hand tools. And it is the 3 C's are construction, comfort, and cost. You know, when acquiring garden hand tools, she's talking about and we'll post the link in the comments so
Mhm.
you can go look at it yourself. The speaker is Marsha Lehman. And she talks about her favorite tools and then also how to maintain them.
Mhm.
And that's very important that we maintain our tools.
Yeah.
One, so we don't spread diseases.
Mhm.
Two, so we don't hurt ourselves. In college, I took a floristry class, and we had a florist knife that we used on all our tools. And they talked about how important it was to have your knife sharp because you were more likely
Mhm.
to harm yourself if it was dull, that you would work too hard. And the same is true for, I've taken Culinary Institute classes, and they talk about how important it was to have a sharp knife, not a dull knife. And so all our tools. Brian, you had something?
I was going to ask you, if I'm dull, am I dangerous to myself?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh boy.
yeah.
Yeah.
The only exception to that for me is the hori hori knife or the garden digging knife.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is not particularly sharp, but I mostly use it like a spade, not like a knife.
Ah,
And
okay.
so I don't really want it sharp using it like that.
Okay.
Because, because sometimes I'm holding onto the handle and, chopping it, pushing it into something.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm holding the blade.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't want that sharp enough to cut me.
Yes.
And so that I don't sharpen that. But, shovels and pruners and things like that, they're great to be sharp.
Yeah.
I think that to add to this conversation as well is to wear gloves when you're using sharp tools, because
Mhm.
I have a little knife that's kind of like a little hook and it's
Yeah.
serrated on one edge, and I use it for harvesting. And when I first got the knife, I, wasn't really thinking about it. And, it was so sharp because it's a harvesting knife,
Mhm.
that I didn't wear my gloves and I was out there cutting something and I cut my finger on it. Luckily not too bad. And I was
Yeah.
like, so sometimes when we get new tools, or we sharpen a tool that's way
Mhm.
sharper than it used to be, we forget that it's got a different action now, basically, or a different
Mhm.
ability to slice through things. So and I know, Lee, you're going to talk about gloves in a minute, but I just
Yeah.
wanted to put that one in there, that
Mhm.
gloves are a tool.
Gloves are a very
Yes.
important tool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you
Yeah.
ever nipped yourself like right in here?
Oh, yes.
That
Yeah.
really hurts.
Hurts. It does,
And
and it's hard for it
gloves,
to heal. Yeah.
I injure myself right here.
that's a whole different sharp tool.
Oh, okay.
Razor blades. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
That sure happens. Yeah. But yeah, it is important that we you know, that was part of in Culinary Institute. They talked about how important it was to
Mhm.
have your knife sharp all the time.
Yes.
Because if you got used to a dull knife and then it went sharp, you were more likely to hurt yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Well, and the dull knife, like dull pruners,
Uh-huh.
they take a lot more effort to use and they smash the
Instead of
stems
cup.
instead of slicing them.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Mhm.
so I'm gonna go back to the video, and I'm gonna play just a little bit.
My name is Martha Reedman. I've been a master gardener since 2013. For those who have known me that long, I'm started as largely a veggie person. And then there was a need to do some some other things, and I became the person who shoots the pruning videos. So if you've ever watched any of the pruning videos, you've seen me do the standard introduction of, hi, I'm Marshall Lehman, and I'm a Knox County Master Gardener. So here we're coming back to hand tools. As I started prepping to talk about garden tools, you know, the first issue you have is those long-handled tools, and then the little things that we carry around. And there were just too many tools, so I decided to focus on the hand tools, the things that we can carry around.
That's the
and
back
the
of my
things that
head
we
there.
don't need. Some of us don't need long-handled tools. If you're doing container gardening, when are you ever going to use a long-handled tool? You're not going to use a long-handled hoe or a rake, but you're going to use some of these hand tools. So that's how I decided to come back and focus on the hand tools. And it's called the 3 C's, and those are construction. How is it made? And that determines its durability. And I'll go into this a little bit more, and its ease of use. I mean, the heavier the material it's made of, the heavier the tool's going to be. The lighter it is, it may be made of aluminum and it's not going to last very long. Comfort, how does it feel in your hand? And we were talking about soil mice before, and I have one that I got several years ago that actually has a very, very comfortable round handle. Sometimes they're plastic and kind of rectangular, and sometimes they're wood and somewhat rectangular. I never like the feel of the wood ones. They look gorgeous, but I don't like the feel of them. But I love this. So I would highly recommend whatever tool you buy, try and get your hands on it. So go into a retail store or find a friend who, come borrow tools from me and go see how it feels in your hand. Because if it doesn't feel good in your hands, you're not going to use it, or you're not going to use it very much. So don't spend money on tools you're not going to use. And then the third C on comfort. There are ergonomic tools on the market today. Just be prepared that they are expensive. But if you've got rheumatoid arthritis or arthritis in your hands, you may want to put that on your Christmas wish list and have somebody else buy it for you. But again, you want to get your hands on it first, either in a retail store or somebody that you know has one of those, and try it out before you spend the money on it. And the third C is cost. I would say buy the best tool you can afford to buy. At the same time, you don't have to do that. You can settle for a middle priced one. I just would not go for the really inexpensive ones. Because the less expensive they are, they're more likely to be made of aluminum, they're more likely to break or bend very quickly. And on hand pruners, which are definitely a hand tool, you want to buy good ones. And everybody raves about Felco pruners, and they are probably top of the line. I would tell you, I did not spend $65 on a Felco pruner. I spent about half of that on a pruner, which has lasted me quite a number of years and has replaceable parts. And if you're getting specialty tools, and I don't think I really have any of those today, I toyed with it. But I have a special tape gun for tying up vining plants and tomatoes. That's mid-size. I didn't bring that today. That's a specialty tool, and they just range in price all over the map. And of course, these 3 C's are not independent things, right? The better the construction,
So she's talking about good quality tools. But one of the things, she briefly talked about was not leaving your tools outside. And I think that's part of the good maintenance is, cleaning your tool and also making sure it's put up after it's done. I work a lot at the Concord United Methodist Church community garden. And one of the things they put out is 2 buckets. One bucket is for washing your tools, and one bucket is for rinsing your tools. And then they have great hooks and things along that lines up to put the tools up so that they can dry. And they're also not exposed to the elements. So, that I think is pretty important. What do you all think?
I'm thinking the three,
Sorry.
I'm thinking the 3 C's of keeping your tools: collecting, cleaning, and caring.
Yes.
I'm putting that in the chat.
Great.
So collecting them from your garden, cleaning them, and then caring for them when they get broken or need sharpening or whatever. This is a great time of year. I would just throw this out because, we don't, for those of us who are looking forward to the garden season in the spring, and we don't have anything going, and we want to, maybe we want to break from gardening, or maybe we miss gardening and we're like, well, you can always, sharpen tools, go through and inspect your tools. One thing that I really, when we talk about the quality of the tool, one thing, especially for larger tools that have a long handle, but even for smaller ones, the one thing I always look for is a bolt between the metal part and the wood handle or the plastic handle or whatever, because if there's a bolt there, then I know that that metal piece is not going to fall off. And in my early days as a gardener, I didn't have a lot of money and I would buy the cheapest tools I could find. And, inevitably a year or 2 down the road, I'd have to rebuy a tool. So it is a long game. And, sometimes we just have to buy a few tools at a time. But some things that you buy, if they're really good quality, that they're yours for life.
Yes.
And, I've had my husband give me some really nice tools and I will have them for the rest of my life and probably give them to somebody else. So, and I like that Marcia, really doubled down on pruners because they're used like so often and they do make a difference when they're good pruners versus not good pruners. But I've been one of those people who've left my pruners outside in the rain and now they're rusty and all that. You can do, if they're actually metal, you can use something called navel jelly and you have to wear gloves, but you can get rid of rust that way. If you've made that mistake of, oh, wow, I left this tool, like you might be weeding in the spring going, oh, I left this tool here sometime. Oh, you can put navel jelly on and like it will take off the rust, but you've got to use it's a toxic substance, so you gotta wear gloves, but it will work to remove rust. So I just want to add that.
Brian, what you got?
Just before the video ended, there was a picture or something, the difference between bypass pruners and anvil pruners.
Yes.
Typically, your bypass pruners are going to cost more, and that may bother you a little bit, like as Toby is talking about right there, whether you think you might want to go to the anvil pruners right there. But we need to keep in mind that there are specific purposes for each one of these right here. Bypass pruners do a better job of cleaning a cut. I use Monrose's and much of everything else. But the anvil pruners, which may be cheaper, they are better at clearing debris, uh, trying to clean up a bush or something like that. The anvil pruners do a pretty good job of that right there.
Now, do you, when you're pruning roses, do you clean your pruners after every cut?
Now I clean my pruners after every bush.
After every bush. Okay.
Yeah. As for
Yeah.
me, I shock people when I do a demonstration on pruning roses. Um, they they are so afraid that they're going to lose their rose bush before I'm done, and they want to pull me away. Um, but I've been growing roses since '94, and I know uh, just a little snip, snip here, there, and there, right there, just does not cut it. Pun intended. Uh, but going in, cleaning out the center and stuff, and the reason why I don't clean them after every single cut is because it's that's time consuming. I tend to be one track minded. I'm looking at cleaning up and opening up this rose bush. And this can apply to most other shrubs and stuff right there. But for good airflow, I want good airflow going through that bush right there. So for two reasons. Number one, reduce the potential for fungal problems. Uh, and then the other one is a nasty culprit that is spread throughout our country, literally around the world. And this is little tiny microscopic dust size mite. It's called a Europhorite mite. Um, has no wings, it has no eyes, it has four little legs that it floats around in the air just like a dust particle. Um, and it whenever it hits a plant, I want to narrow it down to that right there. It will try to feed on it. Okay, if it doesn't like it, it will pick up its little legs and catch the wind and then move on. By keeping the rose bush opened up like this, which will allow all the leaves to get sunlight and air, will still be very productive. So, by going in there and cleaning it up, cleaning out the center right there, for the good airflow, like I said, and then, um, I don't like doing this in late fall or winter. I like doing this in late winter, early spring.
Mhm.
And then I will go ahead and depending on the weather forecast, I will go ahead and give it an initial feeding.
Mhm. Yeah, one of the things that there's a bunch of prune like a pro videos
Yeah.
that Marcia and others have done at the Knox County Master Gardeners YouTube channel. And she recommends cleaning your pruners after every cut.
Oh yeah,
Roses.
that is the safest way.
Uh-huh.
Um, Doing it the way I suggested right there
Uh-huh.
is a gamble.
Yeah.
Because one part, let's say we'll just rosette disease,
Yeah.
pruning one part of that bush right there that's infected, and I'm going over to another part of that same bush and pruning in there, I am moving the infection over and
Mhm.
carrying it over right there. But again, for me, I'm just concentrating so much uh on finishing the cut of that bush right there, and getting it opened up. I guess I don't like distractions.
Yeah.
So I want to go in there and do that right there. Miss Marcia's method is way better as avoiding potential problems right there. Mine is me.
Yeah. The other thing that she had was she had in the video there was in the description, she shared the handout that she gave us at this talk. And it went through the 3 C's, and making sure, she already talked about making sure it's comfortable in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, don't forget your personal protective equipment, things that can cover your arms, your legs, your eyes, your hands. And she also had several additional resources about tools that were very good.
Yeah.
And so we'll put the link to this, in addition to the link to the video, we'll put a link to this
Page.
page. Yeah. So you can have these additional links also. And so
I
that
don't see
was,
that link. That I don't see that link in the email you sent me.
oh,
All I
okay.
see is the 3 C's in the gardening YouTube. So if you have that in your computer, or where is it posted? And I'll go find it.
Okay. It was with the YouTube video, but let me,
Oh, it's connected to the YouTube video. Let me go
uh-huh,
look.
yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, let me
Oh, hang on.
Gardener since 2000.
Hang on.
let me see.
For those who have known me that long, I'm
You found it.
Well,
It's
I found the video.
it's in the description of the
Oh,
video.
okay. I'll find that.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're all right.
Okay, there it is. There it is. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, you got it?
Yes,
Okay,
I did. Thank you so much.
good job. Okay. Appreciate you. All right, so that's the handout. And then we've got some photos to talk about. So one of the things I do in the winter is I overwinter my coleuses and some other plants that are annuals. And so what I do is I take cuttings of them and I put them in water. And these are my coleuses. You can see the little roots are forming here. And I also had some Cuban oregano that is forming roots. And so this is now time to take and put them into a pot with a soil. And then in the spring I can take and plant them. What do you got, Brian?
No, no, no. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to distract you. I won't let you finish talking right there. What kind of soil are we talking about that you start these with?
I do potting soil.
Okay, not a starter mix or anything else, just a good quality potting
Yep.
mix.
Yep.
Okay.
And I make my own potting mix. I make it out of peat moss and vermiculite and perlite. And so sometimes I buy, but yeah, I want a good quality.
Yeah.
And so and then as long as I've got them started, then the main thing is make sure you don't have it someplace that gets too cold. Because I put them out on my back porch. And sometimes when we have a freeze, I got to bring them inside because the porch gets too cold.
Is it screened in?
It is. Well, it's glassed in. It's all in, but it's just not heated.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, and then this is my winter prep for my garden. And so this is where my greens grow. You can still see I have some parsley. It's a good winter crop. But I also have a little bit of kale that's still going. It's a year old. But anyway, and then here is my black raspberries and some onions and some valerian. But my black raspberries, I cut them off about 2.5 to 3 feet, because these were year-old canes, and then next year they're going to be considered 2-year-old, and that's where all the fruit's going to form. And so that's my black raspberries that are ready. And I still have some celery growing. The UT Gardens gave me some pink celery, and I'm amazed that it's still going. And then my onions, always my Egyptian walking onions keep along. And one of the things you see I've put down is lots of leaves as my mulch, in addition to a layer of compost. And this
would
is my asparagus bed. I don't usually cut all the asparagus ferns off until it's closer to spring. That way I know where all the lumps are growing.
Lee,
well-
back to your comment about leaves and compost.
Yeah.
In the past, I never paid much attention, aside from mulching,
Uh-huh.
in the late fall, early winter,
Uh-huh.
getting those leaves, getting a nice blanket on my beds.
Yeah.
Protect the soil, protect from erosion, protect from sun scalds, protect from drying out. There's lots of reasons. Protect from weeds. All those reasons we do mulching. But you said an aside really quickly that I wanted to just call out, and that is you put compost underneath.
Yeah.
And I've done this before. And we don't think about how long it takes things are, we often want something instant in our gardens. We just want to bring in some good soil, get some nice bags of nice, chocolate cake soil and put it in our gardens in the spring and we're good to go. It gets expensive that way. And we could, by just putting some compost down with a good layer of mulch, you can just let that kind of simmer
Yeah.
over it doesn't really simmer because it doesn't get hot, but you just let that sit over the winter. And when you dig into that garden in the spring, you will be pleasantly surprised how
It-
beautiful your soil is.
Yeah.
And if your soil is also very clay, sometimes I'll put like vermiculite, or usually I use vermiculite, not perlite, but
Mm-hmm.
you could put something to loosen it up a little bit in there,
Yeah.
sprinkle that in as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing, Brian's always a fan of soil testing. This is a really good time to soil test,
It is.
because you could
Yes.
put your amendments in now.
Yes.
There's certain amendments that take a long time to get into the soil. So you can get your amendments in now, and then you can wait. And so over the winter, your garden is actually working for you. It's a little late to be planting cover crop because it's no longer warm enough really for it to germinate and grow. But I also think about cover cropping in the late fall. So there's a lot you could do to set yourself up for success in the spring when it comes to your beds. So I just wanted to call that out. You said it as a quick aside, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna just call this out for folks who and the other thing is just obviously, when I don't mulch, I get giant clumps of crabgrass and things growing it. I like big, like pitchfork worthy crabgrass. But if I mulch, I get very little, and then you've got your little volunteers like your kale and all that stick around. They're not really volunteers, but they stick around. They're hardy. I here in the Northwest, I still have kale going big time.
Oh yeah.
But that just for people to think about, what can I do right now that will set me up for like amazing gardening success in the spring? And I've done this, a few years, and I was like just like in love with my soil in the spring because it was like crumbly chocolate cake, and I was like, what? How? Just from that simple. Brian, what were you going to say?
No, right along the lines of what you're talking about, I like to use the word mellowing your
Oh,
soil by
yeah.
doing your do a soil test and amendments as needed per the soil test right there, and then let our soils mellow during the winter time. And come springtime, when we're ready to go back in there, our soils are very alive and active with microorganisms and stuff, and then we're ready for our plants.
Yeah, they're attracting, also your compost is attracting worms. And so when I dug into my soil in the spring, I also had lots of worms. And the worm castings and the worms are like digging through and creating like, your soil,
Yeah.
improving the composition and, the mycorrhiza are growing. Like there's a lot going. And I think you're right, Brian. We think of,
Hmm.
when we're early in gardening and new to gardening, we just think of soil as dirt,
Yeah.
but it's actually a living organism.
Yeah.
Right.
Now this is one of my compost piles that I create out of grass clippings and leaves. I collect leaves from my whole neighborhood, and I mow it up, and I put it all in layers into here. And as you say, I get chocolate cake in the spring.
Well, there you
Now
go.
That
I'm getting hungry.
yeah, yep. Yep. And this is one of my finished compost piles. And this is where I was digging up my chocolate cake and putting it over into my garden beds and then putting layer of leaves on top. Yeah.
So what do you call the first one, the first bed right there that's where you start with your
Yep. Yeah, this is where I started.
okay.
Yep. And this is actually where I grow my tomatoes every year. I grow them in hay bales. And so
Okay.
I get rid of all the hay bales and all the dirt that gets formed from that, and I put them into my flower beds.
Right.
And then I go through, and this is my brand new stuff. And so I put a layer, I take the leaves and I mow them up, and I take grass clippings and I scatter it in, and I water each layer, and
Yeah.
then it by usually mid-spring, a lot of times by the time I'm ready to plant tomatoes, I'm digging this all up and moving it, and a lot of times I'm putting it onto my beds,
Yeah.
or if it's not quite finished, I move over to one of my other beds. Yeah.
So, I'm going to also point out, Lee, you just said something that everybody, I think you brushed over it real quick, and I want to just call it out. That is, when you say mowing the leaves,
Oh yeah.
tell us what that is and why you do it.
Okay. So some of my leaves are big, and so I need them to be littler. And
Mm-hmm.
so what I do is I take my bag off of my mower and I scatter the leaves out in a thin layer, and I mow them up and chop them up into little pieces,
Yep.
or littler pieces. And then I add some grass to it, and then I mow it up in the bag and then dump it over here into this bed.
So part of it is to increase surface area,
Yeah.
and it will compost faster. You don't
Yes.
have to do it,
No.
but in the winter, there's not a lot of
Heat.
heat. There's no extra heat. If you have a big enough pile, you can generate your own heat, but
Yeah.
it's got to be like 4 feet or 5 feet by 5 feet. It's got to be a
Correct.
lot of,
Yeah.
if you're doing it in your bed, you're composting in your beds. You're
Right.
not going to get that volume to start the heating process. So if you
But if it
cut
gets
your
up to
leaf,
50 degrees, it
yeah,
heats this pile up enough.
if it's 50 degrees outside,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it drives
nice.
me up the wall when I see people piling up big leaves on the side of the road to be picked up by the city
Mhm.
when and their lawn is dying and they are throwing away the very thing they need the most.
Yeah.
For their
They do.
lawn.
Yeah.
So but you're not putting you're waiting till it finishes in the spring to spread it on your lawn, right? You're
Right.
not
No,
putting this
well,
on your lawn now, right?
Yeah.
I encourage mowing to a certain extent. Once we get so many leaves and even chopped up and it's starting to choke out or cover the turf grass, that's bad. But if we can add to that right there and then chop them up and put them in a pile off to the side right there, and then we could let them start breaking down on their own. There's no need for the city to come pick this up. It could be something
I
just
mean,
like this.
at the very least, even if you don't compost,
Mhm.
just break them up and put them back in the beds
Yeah.
Yes,
as
yes,
mulch. They will
Absolutely.
compost over time, but it'll
They
take
will.
longer because they're not, you
Yeah.
don't have a good mix of carbon and
It may take a year
nitrogen.
instead of 6 months. Yeah.
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 So, but still, yeah, to, reduce the erosion, all that good stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It
Plus,
is.
like all the critters and microorganisms and everything that's living in your
Oh,
yard, keep
yeah.
them in your yard, unless they're diseased, obviously. If it's a diseased tree, you might want to get rid of those leaves, but, and you don't want to compost any diseased material. We do want to
Right.
point that out.
Right.
But yeah, there's no reason at all. The one thing I'll mention, and I've mentioned this before on the show, is if you have wood chip paths, uh rake your leaves off of those wood chip paths, because the leaves and the wood chips will compost together
Compost.
and your wood chip paths will disintegrate a lot faster.
Yeah, they will. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, they will. Now, one of the things that I did is these are the big cages that fencing that I used around my tomatoes. And so one of the maintenance things I had to do was I pulled these all up and I pulled off all the viney stuff that was all on them, because, that helps to preserve them. And these are probably close to being 20 years old. Um, so taking care of these, yes, they've got some rust on them, but taking care of these is really important.
yeah.
If I want to keep them and not have to buy new fencing on a regular basis. The other thing that, so my rain barrels, one of the things that we come up to, if we're going to have a constant 20-degree weather, my rain barrels, I've got to get them all emptied. Otherwise, they will want to bust. And so it's getting close to the time when I have to empty and keep open my rain barrels.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So anyway, because I've had old rain barrels bust.
I've had pipes in my house bust.
Oh,
Whenever we're out of town nowadays in the winter, we
Drip.
turn off our house wherever we're living, we turn off the house even if we have a heating inside, we'll turn off the house water at the curb, wherever the water supply comes from, or at the house, and then we'll run all the water down and then open up the taps.
Yeah.
Also turn our water heaters down to the lowest setting so they don't burn down the water, and ruin the water heater. So for the tank water heater, yeah, we had a couple of years ago, huge flood in our house because the pipes broke. It was unseasonably cold here in the Northwest. We
lesson.
were here. We had come here back. It was in the teens, which is not normal in Western Washington. And so as we, things that we used to do and have confidence about, in terms of what the climate was like, I think we have to be a little more observant and vigilant when we are seeing, especially if we're not going to be home. But it's a great, you're also you don't want to have to recreate your rain barrels. Lord have mercy. Like that's that you put a lot of work into these, Lee. So that's a great reminder. Like, don't leave stuff even in pots. If
Yeah.
pots aren't draining and they're, they can expand from the ice and like break.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the sanitization, I was just looking online and researching a little bit on sanitization. You also want to sanitize your pots.
Yeah.
If you're moving plant material out of your pots, sanitize your pots. If you're doing, I don't know if we're going to talk about seed saving at all or seed selection, but if you're going to do any seed starting in small containers that have been pre-used, put them in the dishwasher and sanitize them.
Mm-hmm.
All that, like even inside, even where you're doing seed starting, you need to be very careful
Yeah.
about not transmitting diseases.
Yeah. Well, I showed that the cuttings that I had for the coleuses.
Mm-hmm.
I emptied those those water and clean those cups out regularly. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. And then tools. So these are dirty tools. They need to be cleaned so they don't rust. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. So
Do you put oil or anything on your tools after you clean them, or you just clean them and you're
I
good to
just
go?
clean them and hang them up. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
And so sharpening we talked about. This is one of my little sharpeners that I use. And then gloves, old gloves. These gloves used to be nice and supple at the beginning of the season, and now they're crinkly. So I threw them out. And so time for new gloves. Boots. Cleaning your boots. Not bringing in bad stuff. And so a lot of times what I do is I'd actually take my boots off before I come in the house. And my Clorox cleaning wipes I carry in my bag. I always carry some wipes so that if I'm digging an area that I think has diseases or something, but sometimes just cleaning it anyway after I've been at a particular garden. I don't bring the stuff home, or I don't bring the stuff from home to other people's garden, is giving my tools a good wipe. And then my bag, so this is a bag that I put around my waist to carry my tools in. And one of the things I got to regularly do is I got to clean out this bag. Because if I'm working in leaves get in there. If I'm working in dirt gets in there. And so cleaning my bag is important. Cleaning it out. Yep.
That's awesome, Lee. Where did you get that bag? Is that like from a like a construction store?
Uh-huh.
Like a home improvement store?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. And I did. Yeah, it was a good bag.
Yeah, I feel like I need a bag or something or a vest or something because I'm always running around, and although if I wore my overalls more often, maybe I'd put them there, but then you bend over and like stuff falls out
Yeah.
of your
Exactly.
pockets when you put stuff in your pockets, and you don't want sharp tools falling out on your person when you're
No,
gardening.
no joke. Hey, Brian, what you got?
That's one reason why I like having a bad back because I can't bend over anymore.
Mm,
Lose my tools.
Okay.
yep.
This is another one of my sharpeners to sharpen tools.
Mhm.
Yeah, the
Leather
other thing I
gloves.
would say is as you get, one thing you might think about if you're a person like me that loses their tools a lot is, and if you're a person who's working with others in in collective gardening, where you're going to work with other folks as a team on a garden, when I get, one of the things you can do is as you get new tools and with your old tools is you can spray the handle a little bit with a particular, like neon color of
Uh-huh.
spray paint. And then you make sure that you like, I don't know why they make gardening tools with green handles like that. Like, why would you want to camouflage that? I mean, or we love wood handles because
The
they're,
guy
gorgeous
thing.
and they feel good, but they also get lost in the shuffle. So you can take, you can have your signature color, whatever your signature like neon color is. This is what construction guys do a lot. And you spray your handles so that you can find them in the garden because they're bright pink or whatever, neon color. And if you're out with others, you know that that's your tool. So, as you're maintaining your tools, you also want to, if you've done that, you want to check and make sure the paint's working. But yeah.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And these are my leather gloves. Important when I'm working with things that are thorny. And so, and this is my bucket that I carry around with my other tools in it. And I gotta regularly clean it out. Yep. And then this is one of my little cleaning tools that I have to scrape off dirt off of things. And I found it at the Dollar Tree. So
Oh, those are typically sold to clean off barbecue grills.
yeah, but I use it to clean off my tools. Yeah. So anyway, that is my pictures, unless somebody else had pictures they wanted to share. So what else do we want to talk about for maintaining your tools? Now you talked about oil, Toby. Do you sometimes oil your tools?
Yeah, sometimes I'll spray WD-40 on if they're
Hmm.
rusty, but you can buy tool oil.
Yeah.
I don't always do it. Most of the
Mhm.
time I don't. If you clean your tools right when you're done using them, usually I spray down everything before I put everything away and I let it dry a little bit.
Yeah.
Usually if you do that, you won't get rust,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
It's only if they sit around with dirt on them and whatnot.
Yep.
So sometimes oiling tools can put a little extra, um, you know, cup surface matter to keep the rust from forming. Also, sometimes, like pruners and whatnot need a little bit of extra oomph
Yeah.
if they get
Okay.
like stuck.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think, Brian?
Um, I have a difference, but I um don't care that much for WD-40. For light coating or something like that, that would be fine. The downside of WD-40 is it totally evaporates.
Mm, yeah.
Okay, and it does not last. I have other specific sprays that I will use depending on the tool and how long it's going to be in storage, if you want to call it that.
Hmm.
Um, oh, it's good inexpensive one. I guess I don't know if that's a correct word or not for protecting that. Right there. I use my tools mostly throughout the year, and I have a tool bag. It's a leather bag where I have pockets around there, and I keep all of my stuff, gardening stuff, in that bag right there because they get called out. Um, to do a demonstration or to help somebody else with a shrub or anything like that right there. So I try to keep everything that I might need in that bag. So a belt pouch won't handle that for me because I've got
That's why I've got the bucket.
right.
In addition
Well,
to
okay. They will be the same along the same lines as that bucket
yeah.
right there. But this
Mhm.
is a gray leather pouch or
Mhm.
tool bag. Um, I
Yeah,
did
I found one person that had this little rolling cart that she would take with her everywhere, that she could lift up and out of her car, and then in
set
addition
it
to that,
down. Yeah.
yeah, she could set it down and she could roll it with her. but then it also had a handle that she could put on top so she could sit on it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right. I've seen
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm posting a link to just a little thing about how to care for garden tools. I posted some other ones as well.
Oh, nice.
And
Thank
this
you.
one they say to this guy's favorite way of caring for tools is to spray with WD-40 and then wipe with vegetable oil on top of it.
Okay.
And then also to not forget linseed oil on your wood handles
Oh,
so they
yeah.
don't break. So that's kind of interesting as well. To think about. Everybody has kind of their own favorite
Right.
way of caring for their tools.
Yeah.
The other thing I like to think about, which is kind of outside of the box when it comes to like tool stuff,
Uh-huh.
is your garage door or your shop door,
Yeah.
where all your garden tools are, what you're using, like if I don't mind the springs and whatnot and the tracks on my garden door, I'm like hearing this awful squealing.
Yes.
So yeah, as you're working on your tools, why not like fix that garden door or the garage door so that when you're going in and out to garden, you don't have to listen to that squeal all the time. So it's a good time to just like do it. Like get your WD-40 or get your chain oil or whatever you're putting,
Yeah.
and also if you have like we have electric chainsaw and things like that, there's also maintenance for those there's maintenance for your riding lawnmower that you have to think about. So or your push lawnmower. This is the best time to take care of all that stuff. Because come springtime, if your lawnmower needs maintenance, you're gonna have a wait time if you wait till like immediately when the grass needs mowing. So now's a really good time to get all that stuff taken care of.
Right. I wanted to say something about our weather coming up right here. I've been talking about this on our Facebook group for the last several days. Um, Tonight we are supposed to be getting down to 23 degrees with a slight chance of showers and then rain, snow. To Sunday, the high for Sunday is 29 degrees.
Ugh.
And Sunday night, Monday morning, it's supposed to be down to 13 degrees.
Mhm.
So please, I've been putting out warnings or cautions on our Facebook group about taking care of plants, pets, pipes. Let's see,
Water barrels.
there's 4 P's. Oh, a poop. That's what it is. No.
Oop.
I flushed that.
So plants, pets, what was the other one? Pipes?
Pipes. I've got it in a mime somewhere else, but I would want to caution everybody, please. Take a look at your weather forecast on your favorite weather media, regardless of what it is right there, and find out what your area, what we're going to have, and prepare yourself for this right here, because this will be the coldest of the year so far.
Yeah. Well, it's 10 o'clock. Oh, 10:01. Time for us to stop our live stream. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Have a great Saturday and a great winter. See you all in January. The 10th is our next one.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. See you in January. Happy holidays.